Como lata, Lisa muttered. She got to her feet, knees dimpled with mud, and hurried to the trailer with her sketchbook pressed to her chest. She petted Picasso's head as she bounced up the stairs, slipped off her muddy shoes, then got the telephone on the fifth ring. Bueno, she greeted the caller. Hello. It was her mom calling from the laundromat. Lisa could hear the sound of tumbling dryers and washers shifting into rinse and spin cycles. She could make out the wailing of babies and Mexican music echoing off the walls. Her mother asked Lisa to take some frozen meat out to thaw, then to vacuum and clean up around the trailer. Lisa hung up and looked around their small living room. In the corner stood her father's metal cabinet of craftsman tools, which gave the air the faint smell of motor oil. Lisa's father, who'd been a truck driver in Mexico, had an ambition that would take them away from this trailer life. He wanted to become a mechanic. Mechanics earned good money, he argued, and they got to live in cities, not on ranchos. They got to drive clean cars, not ones flecked with mud or splattered insects on windshields. They owned tools, drop lights, extension cords, and books with oil-thumbed pages. My papi is trying, Lisa told herself. Still, she frowned at this tool cabinet that took up so much room. Her frown deepened at her mother's knitting piled on the coffee table. Lisa hated herself for this judgment, but the house was so messy, and no matter what she might do, it would always be messy. Lisa released a sigh and muttered, I'll clean it later. She was determined to complete her drawing. She slipped into her shoes on the porch and clopped down the steps, then halted. Would surprises never end? Near the egrets, under the rainbow's arch, floated 2 fat geese. Kneeling at the edge of the lake, Lisa quickly added to her penciled scene and noted the colors that she would employ later. As the light faded, the rainbow began to die. The calf turned and moved away in slow, plodding steps. The egrets unfolded their wings and spread them like accordions. They leaped into the air, their departure rippling the surface of the lake. The geese treaded out of the water, throwing hateful looks at the chickens in the yard. The chickens pecked the ground. The moment Lisa knew was over. Don't go, she screamed to the egrets. She rose to her feet. Don't go! Stay! But the egrets were soon dark commas on the western sky. Lisa watched until they were no longer visible. She shivered, and when she turned back to the lake of rainwater, the rainbow had vanished. The calf had ambled off to the pasture across the country road, where it nibbled on grass. In a few minutes, it would blend into the dusk. Lisa stood for a moment in the gathering dark. Daylight began to pull west, and the lake began to ripple in the breeze. The geese remained, ripping angrily at grass and clacking their yellowish bills. Unsatisfied, they honked at Lisa, as if it were her fault that the grass was so meager, and lifted themselves into the air. Aye, Lisa chirped as she stepped back, frightened by their beating wings. She watched the geese until they, too, disappeared, lost somewhere between the pale stars that had emerged. Lisa returned inside to do her chores, vacuum, mop, fold laundry, and wash the breakfast dishes in the sink.